Well, hello there. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota Podcast. My name is Mpho and I'm joined by Tim Delace here from Cape Town. I'm back in Joburg. I look like a poster boy of Lords, but it's fine. I need to remember that it's day 15 of being a world champion. Is it 15? No, it's 10. Sorry, day 10. I do apologize. I lost a lot of days on my way back here. Tim, how are you doing?
All good, mate. All good, all good. I have some sympathy for the party goers, I must say. I hope the Proteas have a good week off before the test match.
Look, I think they're in camp now, but it's been a very interesting week. I've missed out on all the South African parties, but there was this one party that ended very late last week Thursday at the hopefully future sponsor of the Proteas, and from all social media posts and everything else, it looks like it was a very good party. The boys actually let loose, which is nice. But we hope that today they are in camp, getting ready to play Zimbabwe in Bulawayo. It's going to be as much of a road as the road that you're seeing there. I'm pointing there because my TV is that side. The road that you're seeing in Headingley at Leeds. Yes, it's great, but I don't know. Hey, can England hold on for a day?
I don't like games that are like this. I know it brings a lot of the new breed of people. I kind of enjoy when it's a draw, you know? A team fights out for a draw. England are not going to do that. Whatever they have to get, they're not going to do that. I miss those days, but because of the way, to be fair, both teams actually, because of the way both teams have played in the test match, at such a pace, a draw is just highly unlikely, unless, of course, good old English weather strikes.
Yeah, look, they need some sort of cloud cover to make the ball do something. It's weird. Like in England, everyone speaks of all this swing, but it only happens when the clouds are there, and the clouds are there 90% of the time. So that's what happens, right? It's more weather based than what's happening on the ground. Yes, there's a little bit of bounce, and I think the Indians like the bounce in England. They just don't like the bounce in Australia and in South Africa because what we do. And then you bring the clouds in, and then the balls just start shaking.
It comes up quicker, too quickly for them when they come here.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? It's one of those. Okay, so remember, we're your number one cricket podcast in South Africa. If you want to know anything about South African cricket, we're your guys. And so because we are your guys, we're going to ask that you can follow your guys on X at Full Quota Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Full Quota Podcast. Also, we're on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Sorry to the Apple Podcast and Spotify people. We'll be back on track now because we're moving in. It's the off season, but Tim, this off season doesn't end. It's not ending anytime soon. But anyway, and then finally, because we are your guys and you want to see your guys more often, producing more content, please do buy us some coffee. Right? It's the way to support the podcast, to keep us going. We do this for love of cricket alone, but love of cricket alone does not buy a sandwich. All right. And so if you can support us, if you like our content and you want us to continue, and also send through comments, YouTube. We answer most of all of the comments on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please send through comments, and on Twitter. Let us know how we can improve the show, how we can be better for you. And also, if you can, spare a rand, 10 rand, 50 rand. It goes all the way. If you're in another country, dollars, $5, $1, anything happens, right? Or you can even give us like what they do on the other podcast, $1 in terms of a cricket stat, and then we can figure it out. So you can give us $2.82, and we'll tell you what 2.82 means. Or you can give us $1.36, or $136, and we'll tell you what that means. Or you can give us 0.65 cents, dollars, which is 65 cents, or euros or pounds, and I'll tell you what that means, because that's the most important hamstrings score you've ever had. Do you get that? Do you see that? Yeah. Or you can give me 8. You can put in $8. Why? Because the Proteas won 8 games in a row. And they're going to, by the end of the Zimbabwe series, have won 10 in a row. And by the time they finish the year, that streak will not be broken. Listen to me. It will not be broken. I know we're playing India and Pakistan, but it won't be broken. Shukri has a plan for us. That's all I'm saying. Okay. We've done all of that. The Proteas arrived. Everyone has been happy. It's nice. Couple of things happened this week. The only cricketing things in South Africa that happened is the Proteas women. They somehow, after the Proteas men won a World Cup, World Championship, have now also stepped into their own World Championship shoes. I don't know. They look like a very strong limited overside. All that bickering Tim, you and I had a month ago about we don't see a plan. It's seemingly like the same old. That's changed. They became dominant. They lost the first ODI against West Indies, and then they went on to win back-to-back to win the series. And yes, we spoke about how important Marizanne is to this team, and you see what this team looks like with Marizanne. It is unbelievable. And so, Tim, that's what we're going to be talking about now in the show. I know we've got an overlay of all the matches. We're going to put those up now. But general thoughts on Proteas women, because it looked like when it was day 2 of the test, they played a match, they lost, and we were like, oh, same old. But then Saturday, after the win, they stepped into there. And I'm not saying the Proteas men encouraged, but it was a good day for South African cricket. Tasman and Laura just bossed it all. There was a bit of a collapse at the end, and we'll talk about that. And then third game, similar thing. And the way the Proteas women play their cricket, Tim, it's like copy-paste formula, right? And we'll talk about it later. It's your top order needs to score the bulk of the runs. Everyone else needs to pitch in. You get a total above 280, and you hope Marizanne is on form to take wickets. And Masabata class, who's also stepped into form. I'm not sure what's going on with Aya, but yeah, that's what it is. But Tim, general thoughts of Mandla's progress. Do you see a path forward to the World Cup now?
So there was a clear plan under Dylan, but I fully admit that plan, because of the aggressive nature of it might have crashed and burned. It may well have crashed and burned because it was so different to what we were saw under Hilton. So there was a risk in continuing along that road. The direction, I'm not too clear on the direction. But what I would definitely say, is the bowling standards have definitely improved. There's not a reliance there on, for example, Marizanne. Marizanne hasn't been at the straps throughout the series in either format, but we have seen Masabata Class bowl brilliantly, Mtlaba bowled brilliantly, Shlubi bowled really well. So we've seen a step up in the bowling, absolutely. I still worry about the batting. I still have question marks. The players that we talk about often, I still think should be there. Because if you take away, for example, Tasman's runs from the series in either format at the moment, it looks very, very dicey. So overall, definite improvement with the bowling, less reliance on Marizanne, which is a good thing, because I've been saying for weeks that Marizanne should be seen as a batter who bowls a bit as she reaches the end of her career. So there are good signs, slowly, but it's still early days.
Yes, it's still early days, and we're going to talk about it. I think Marizanne in the ODIs took 3 wickets. She was the 4th best bowler. Nonkululeko Mlaba led the line. Masabata Class came through, and Ian Hlubi. Klaus and Hlubi took 4 wickets each. Mlaba took 7 in the series, and Cup took 3. So that's what you were hoping for, but I still do think you then, because the question for me is, and we're going to go to the results soon. I promise you guys. If Cup is taking lesser of a role, and I think that's essentially what Mandla's trying to do, trying to have a negotiated settlement, not necessarily settlement, but a negotiated exit plan. However long that exit plan is, you need to find a successor. You don't want the whole Jacques Callis problem in the men's way. We're now throwing everybody, and then now you need two players, because to fill Marizan's role, you need two players. You need a batter who can bat in the top four and bat in the top four, and that tells you what we're looking for. And you also need a bowler who can be your third best bowler, but a third best bowler in a lineup that is your 1 and 2 are world class, right? Your 1 and 2 are there, because Marizan, when she's hot, she's world class. It's like the Jacques Callis thing, right? Callis was arguably the best batter in the game. You can fight me with Joe Root, you can fight me with Sachin, you can fight me with Virat Kohli, but Callis is there, top 5, if you want to argue, top 5 ever in the game, right? And he batted in the top 4. I'm not saying Marizan's like top 5 in the game, but Marizan's one of the best batters South Africa's ever produced, right? She's a little weird in the way she does it. She may not be as orthodox, but she is there, and she's very aggressive. She's attacking. We need her in the side. If Tasman's not having a good day, the second best or third best batter in this team, and that says a lot. With Sune around, with Chloe, with everyone around, Marizan is your, at times, second best batter. So you need someone to replace that. Then on the other end, you're going to need someone to replace the bowling. And that's the issue that I have. It's in the bowling. And I'm glad that it stepped up. But that's where my issue is. And therefore, I look at Nadine de Klerk. I look at Henri Dirksen. And I say, ladies, here's an opportunity. If Marizan's going to bowl less, take less of a role. Is the step up too high for you? Should we look for someone else? But this is a role for you to come in, and we're not asking you to be the world's best bowler. We're asking for you to be consistently good. If your fourth bowler is consistently hitting highs of a 1 or a 2 in your bowling lineup on days like a Ben Stokes in this test match, right? Ben Stokes shouldn't be taking wickets, but Ben Stokes can peak. And when Ben Stokes peaks, he peaks. He can take a fifer, right? We need to know where your ceiling is, right? You may be middling it, and that's okay. We're okay with that. But we just want someone who can cause batters problems. Like England struggled on day one to take wickets. But who took a wicket? Ben Stokes. Who kept on taking wickets in that first innings? Ben Stokes. He's their fourth best bowler, but on a day can be number one. And that's what I think this series was about. It was about seeing where the potential could be. And I'm looking at Nadine and Henri, and I'm like, guys, come on. This is where you kind of find a way to replace Marizan without even adding the runs. We're not even asking for runs at this point in time. Because what we can do is what England and Australia did with Cameron Green was, we don't need you to bowl. We just need you to bat. That can work. But those are the two I'm looking at, Tim. I'm like, But anyway, we're happy. It's a good podcast. They played well. But yeah, what do you want to say?
Oh, you've got onto a point that I actually wanted to make. And we've been saying this for some time, particularly with regards to Nadine, because Nadine has been around longer than Henri. Hilton didn't quite know what to do with Nadine. He saw her talent, but he didn't quite know what she was. I don't think Dylan did either. And I'm seeing the same situation with Mandla at the moment. I see her as in that top 6, batting in top 6. It doesn't matter what format, she has to be batting in the top 6. The first 2 games, she batted 8 and 9. Now, if you've told her that she is a bowling all-rounder, okay, that's fine. But she's definitely not producing the goods in the bowling department. Definitely is not. The other bowlers that I've already mentioned were out-bowling her by some distance. I think that is going to become a tricky. What do you do with those two? Because one of them, in my opinion, has to be the batting all-rounder. The other one has to be the bowling. just as you said, those two need to be the replacements for Marazan. And where you put them to bring out the best in them is very, very important. And I don't think either the last three coaches got the best out of either of those players. Yes, on the odd game here and there, because they are talented players, but not on a consistent basis. And I'm not sure what Manta sees in either role. It seems to me that he thinks that Dirksen is the better batter. I'm not sure that I agree with that, but at least if he thinks that, then that needs to be communicated either to them or to us, preferably, so that we can at least see the plan. Because Anrik was batting at 5 and 6 in the ODIs. So that is a tricky one. Solve that situation, bring out the best. That will definitely take the load off people like Tasman and Laura to have to contribute in the bat continuously to get us off to good starts.
Yeah. Look, it's the weakness of that middle order, right? You've got Tasman and Laura at the top, and they're very strong. And then the middle order is right now Shangase at 3, Sune at 4, Henry Dirksen at 5, or Marizan, depending on who's playing. And then you've got Sinalo Jafta, who's been promoted from 8 to 6, which it's them trying to give her more responsibility. You can see that they're trying to have her contribute more than just be a gloveman. Karabo's waiting in the wings. That, I think, should be Karabo's position at 6. I love you, Sinalo. I love Sinalo. I think she's awesome. And I like healthy competition. And I think that's what we want to see there, right? Karabo's at the age right now where she's only going to be contributing 20, 30 runs a game. If she contributes more, that's great. And her ceiling is way higher than Sinalo's. And so there's that balance that you kind of need, but you got a World Cup. So I'm okay with having Sinalo there at 6, but then that makes your batting lineup longer, right? Because Chloe Tryon's now batting at 7, right? And that's obviously a tactical ploy for the back end overs. That's fine. That's okay. But then Nadine at 8, right? Nadine's a much better batter than Sinalo. She may have not shown it, but surely there's a way to have this team sorted out in such a way that Nadine probably bats at 5 or 6. Because the way I'd have this team is I'd have Laura Tasman at 1 and 2, Sune at 3. I'd have my all-rounders literally in order. Cup at 4, Dirksen 5, de Klerk at 6. That's how I'd do it. Whether you want to put Shangase in there 3 over Sune, that's up to you. Where you want to put maybe Nondu in if you want a spinning all-rounder, because she can bowl spin, take one of the two out between Nadine and Annery. But you know that you've got a batter in Nondu Miso Shangase. That's how I would do it. It's the batters and then your 3 all-rounders, and then your wicketkeeper there at 7, and you interchange them between her and Chloe. I don't like the fact that Chloe's gone down to 8, because it kind of is a recognition that there is a decline in form, because I don't think she's just a blaster or a hitter. I think she's actually a good cricketer, and if you gave her the responsibility, she would show it. I'd like Chloe in the top 5. I'd like Chloe at 5.
I don't mind. Chloe at T20s, top 5, absolutely. 50 overs, I don't mind you at 8. I don't mind that at 8 for me. But definitely in the T20s, she's got to be batting higher up for her explosive play.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the scoreboard. Go to the results. It's a celebration podcast. We're having a good day about it. So the first game, South Africa was the ODIs. The first ODIs last 2 weeks ago. South Africa put up 232. There was a bit of rain and Duckworth Lewis. In there, Tasman Britt scored a 57 of 65 balls. And there was a 42 there from Nadine de Klerk of 38 balls that should not go unnoticed. Well done to the both of them. And Sluby came in with 3 for 50, but it wasn't enough, as the revised score was 180 for 6. And that was my thing with this one, Tim. I was like, scores around 230 are no longer competitive in women's ODIs. Easily gettable, easily chased. And the West Indies did it really well. Hayley Matthews and Kiana Joseph put on a stand of 88, and from that moment on, it was all she wrote. for the Proteas. They couldn't break through, and it was a game. It was the game that didn't have Marizan, right? This was the game that did not have Marizan, the loss. Then we move into the world where Marizan now enters the chat. I love that, enters the chat. And South Africa scored 309 for 9. First opening partnership was of 51. Then Laura went away. But then it was Sunay Lusu scored 76 with Nondu Shangase scoring was it 56, and they put on a stand of just under 100. It was 94 or 5. But then obviously they went up. But then Marizan scoring 32 of 29, and Anri Dirksen coming with 37 of 24. This top 6, Tim. Listen to this batting lineup. It's Wolfart at 1, Brits at 2, Shangas at 3, Lise at 4, Cup at 5, Jafta at 6, Dirksen at 7, Tryon at 8, de Klerk at 9. We batted very deep, and maybe that's the plan, right? It's throw everyone at this problem and see if it sticks. And but for the stage of the game, Nadine gave us 11 of 7, which is awesome. Chloe Tryon, 28 of 19, right? Anri Dirksen, 37 of 24. So and Marizan Cup, 32 of 29. By the time Marizan came in, it was over 30, it was over 29, right? So you got a sense that they felt that there was a foundation and that they needed to push on. And it was shown in this game, and we loved it because anything close to around 280, you normally win, right? And from a bowling perspective, to shine at that, Nonkululeko Mlaba took 4 for 33, Marizan took 2 for 42, which was the 2 wickets. Kiana Joseph's wickets at the top, which was breaking the opening partnership, along with Hlubi, who took the last one. And it was the first wicket to fall in the power play. And then obviously Nonkululeko Mlaba. So that's, I think, the blueprint, right? It's to throw your all-rounders at the problem. I'm just very uncomfortable to have Nadine batting at 9, but in that batting lineup, which is very strong, I'm okay with. If you want to throw all your batters at the problem, who can bowl a bit?
I don't mind for the occasional game. Absolutely, I don't think you can have 3 all-rounders in an 11. I just don't think for the balance of the side. Let's say for a World Cup. I don't want to see that throughout the World Cup. For a one-off game where it suits to try and get as many as possible, to boost up your run rate, for example, absolutely fine. As a standard, I'd rather take out one all-rounder and put in a specialist bowler, probably in that sense. That's the way I would prefer to go. But it worked on the day, so let's just focus on the positives. But yeah, as I say, it's a conundrum that one is got to sort out. How do you produce the best out of Chloe Tyrone, Dirksen, and Nadine? That's a challenge.
Look, the other thing is, going to the World Cup, our strength is not our bowling. It's our batting, and our bowling, we need Marizan to play well for our bowling to do anything, right? Relying on Mlaba is one thing. Yes, it's going to be in India, so she's going to be the lead. But you need someone who's going to help her with the new ball. Or 2 bowlers who are going to help her with the new ball. Obviously, Hlubi's there, but the way our bowling lineup looks like, we're going to be bits and pieces in it for the 50 overs. Look, they used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that 9? It's 8 bowlers. Used 8 bowlers in that game, and that's what's going to be, right? We're going to throw a ball to someone for 3 overs. Does it work? No. Okay, throw it to someone else for 3 overs. No, it doesn't work. I'm not sure if we're going to have long periods of pressure, but it's going to be a mixed bag of, you can bowl a bit, but most importantly, you're here because we think we can do what England did. Remember when England came out with like all those all-rounders and wicket keepers in limited overs cricket who could bash the ball to every corner but could bowl a bit? The David Malan experiment. where David Milan and Liam Livingston were bowling leg spinners, and you're like, what the hell's going on? Along with Moeen Ali and Rashid Khan and everyone else, and Chris Wokes, because they could bat and they were batting at like 9, and you're like, what the hell's going on? And I think that's how we get through. Australia eats this bowling lineup easily. Throw whomever it is, it's easy. Even England, I think. Everyone else in the world, not so much. Maybe India, but we want to be in the top 4. This gets you in the top 4, and then you can hope Marzan or someone else has an incredible day. Yeah, and then the next, yeah.
No, I was just going to say, and these conditions that they're coming up against at the moment are what it's going to be like in India for their T20 World Cup. It's great preparation, conditions-wise, for that World Cup.
Yeah. Okay. Then the next result is the third ODI. This one was a bowling performance. South Africa scoring 276 for 278 for 6, and West Indies being bowled out for 122. You could say it's a traditional West Indian collapse, and I wouldn't say no to that. But it was the rebirth of one Masabata class who took 4 for 25. Tasman Britt scoring 100 and Laura Wolfart. This game irritated me the most. South Africa were 184 for 1 in the 26th over. And a batting lineup that had Laura, Tasman, Nondu, Sunay Lis, Marzan, Sinala, Anri Dirksen, and Chloe Tran. Nadine didn't play this game, right? So Dumi came in, and Dumi can bat as well. We never got to Dumi. From 184 for 1 or 200 for 2 when Laura got out, we then proceeded to score 64 runs or 78 runs from there in 20 overs. That is the worry about our soft middle to lower order. And that's the thing about your idea of having all-rounders in there, is that batting's not their primary focus. They don't add balance. And that's the reason why I'm asking for padding that batting line, that top 4. That top 4 must not have an all-rounder. It must have 4 dedicated batters. And my 4 would have been Laura, Candler, Brits, and potentially Sune. Because Sune, or Annika Bosch. Between Annika Bosch and Sune, I'd pick Annika Bosch. That's my 4 starting at the World Cup. Then you can have Marazan at 5, and then you can have Anri Dirksen at 6, and then you can have your wicketkeeper batter at 7, and you can still have Chloe at 8. And then you decide whether you want to play Nadine or not. Right? If it seems as though Nadine, but if Nadine comes in, one of Dirksen, her and Dirksen would interchange. Oh, unless Marazan's not playing, then you throw Nadine's in there, right? But that's how I see this team, right? I see this team based on its ability alone, right? Yes, Karabo comes into that top 4. Nundu comes into that top 4 as well. You can make it work. And she's proven with that half century that she's good enough to be at this level. That's how I see this team. But then you can't have situations where you are in the driving seat and you 78 runs in 20 overs. No. That should have been at least, in my head, I was like minimum 300. Minimum 300. Yes, it's not our 2 best batters, but surely Tasman and Laura can't carry us that much all the time. They already laid a foundation. If they give us a 100-run partnership, that's the foundation you need. But it seems like for South Africa to win games, they need to give us 150 runs.
Yeah, and that's why we've been saying for some time now, give Alex a chance, give Faye a chance. We've tried the others. The others have been there for a long time. And every time that their position becomes a problem, they score runs. But they're not doing it on a consistent basis. If you look at that middle order in terms of averages, sort of 3 to 5, 3, 4, 5, they're not producing the goods on a consistent basis. And when you've got people like Faye and Alex who are performing, who are going on SA emerging tours, who are producing the goods, Alex can bowl. If you want somebody to do a similar job to Sune, Alex can bowl. bowled against in the SA matching against Bangladesh. Got mad at the match. To me, I don't think we'll go down that road, but I think we should definitely consider it. Particularly in Alex's case, she just gone to Bangladesh. That's pretty much what we're going to play against in India, and she did pretty well. So
Yeah.
It is an issue.
And the other thing here is Masabata class. I think Masabata class is the best fast bowler we have in the country after Marizan. So it's Marizan, it's her. I think she should play quite a lot of the games. Aya Bongakaka has dropped in pace and performance. And Shubi is still getting to know her stride here. And I think Masabata proved in that game that she has the ability to, be consistent. It's a consistency for me, right? She's hot and cold within games. We need her to get to be consistent because that gives us every chance of winning games. The only way we win World Cup games against Australia, England, and India in this World Cup is if everybody who's not named Nonku or Marizan one of them needs to step up. One of them needs to give us 10 overs of under 6 runs and applying a lot of pressure and maybe taking a wicket. Right? Everyone else, yeah, we're gonna lose runs there. Above 6 runs and over, maybe even closer to 7 or 8. Right? But though we need a third bowler to put their hands up. Masabata class is that bowler. I'd like to see her play a lot more, and I think it'd be awesome. But however, this was the start. So we had a batting dominance, we had a bowling dominance, and then we moved to the T20s. Ooh. Then we had them. We had them. In the T20s, Tasman Brits came and said, hello, this is the format I like. The thing I liked about all of these innings at the top was the team was trying to be aggressive, right? Laura and Tasman were playing positive cricket. They were playing as though they were trying to rotate the strike. They were moving it. They weren't just sitting for boundaries. Tasman Brits in this T20, all on her own, scoring 98, just missing 98 not out of 63 balls. Nadine de Klerk coming with 21 of 17. And Marizan in the bowling department taking 2 for 27. And who was it? Lefty took 1 for 18. Ayabonga Kaka 1 for 19. And Nadine de Klerk 1 for 12. But again, it was the intent. And the intent was there, Tim, to be very dominant. And they were dominant. And it was one woman taking half the balls, and she did it. Tasman has entered the chat as possibly someone who must be respected by the opposition and recognized as the number 2 batter in the side. It's Laura, it's her, it's Marizan, the top 3.
Yeah, and undoubtedly. And I missed yesterday's game live, but I recorded it, so I watched it this morning just so I have the relevant information for today's show. And I watched it, and the big thing for me was she'd never allowed anybody to settle, Tasman. Never allowed anybody to settle. And she did that throughout the formats, particularly the T20s. If you look at everybody else is stuck at their crease. They're playing from their crease, trying to work it to the leg side, and not trying to dominate the bowlers and allowing the bowlers to dominate them. And that caused us problems in that second game. But Tasman makes sure she gets to the pitch and she takes the risk. She takes the risks. She's had a couple of failures in this tour, but alongside this couple of failures, she's scored big runs.
And that's the nature of the positive game, right? It's gonna be hit or miss, but if you commit to it, you will have more people will notice your highs more than your lows. Like in the next game that we were talking about, right? Obviously, South Africa got bowled out for 113, and the West Indies got there with 4 balls to spare. I'm not balled out. It was 113 for 6. But in that game, Tasman scored 14 of 21. Laura 16 of 16. But obviously Henry Dirksen 21 of 17. And again, my thing is that things like this will happen. But at least if we lean into our batting, it gives us every chance of winning games, even if your bowling attack isn't that great. It's typical of the South African Proteas men's team going to World Cups. The last World Cup, it was our batting can get us whatever it is, we just can't chase, right? Our bowlers weren't that great, so there's a question of our bowlers were great, so like our bowlers can get us just inside whatever that is. They were never going to blow them away. Whereas on this side, you need your batters to be so good that it covers the deficiencies of your bowlers. And in a game like this, I think in the T20 game, I think there's a little bit of an easier way for Mandla and the team to kind of get this team humming for the World Cup. Well, the T20 World Cup this is the 50th over World Cup in India, right, Tim? T20 is next year, sorry. Yes, because I keep on seeing England's fixtures, and I'm like, those are T20s, right? Yeah, next year it's in England, right? But in this format, I'm okay with you trying to be aggressive and going out. This thing of trying to, spare your blushes and everything else, it doesn't work. But what I loved about the train of this series and the reflection of the series is I'm seeing a positive form of cricket from a batting side, where we're trying to punch them first. As Enoch always says, we want to lay the first punch and then everything follows, right? And not necessarily be timid. And what I'm saying is the batters who've come through, Laura, Tasman, to a certain extent, Nondu, committed to the process. Nondu's talent level's not at those two. But what we're seeing is from a person who's actually probably, I think, with all due respect, might have a little bit less talent than Sune, applied herself better than Sune. Right. Yes, Sune has that 76. You can come at me after that. But what I saw from Nondu in that innings was someone who can apply herself for three, someone who is willing to take risks and be aggressive. Yes, she's still in her infancy in terms of international cricket, where Sune's at the back end and maybe in her prime. But Nondu has the ability to be able to take what the coaches have told her and apply it. Even though technically there's a lot of things she still needs to learn, but you're sitting there going, yes, I see it. I love the intent, and I'd rather pick you on intent alone. Same thing with the Sinalo Jafta. They've moved her up to 6. Not talent-wise, not there. And maybe you can even argue that Karabo at this level has a higher ceiling, and we've said that. But her application and her intent to her batting over the last year has given her the opportunity to bat at 6. And to the point where we're now able to put Chloe a little bit further back. But it's about the intent. And I think for me, if we know that this is the style of cricket we're playing, that's fine. Then we know whether you're deviating from it or not. In the last game, we deviated from it. Yes, it took us a very long time to start scoring runs, and then it started catching up, and then we found ourselves in trouble. And in that's what happens. But you're going to have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type games like this going forward. But from my perspective, Tim, what I've seen in this tour is there's a more focus on intent. The opportunities that Mandla's giving is to Nondu. Sune's getting another more opportunities. Miane's getting opportunities here and there, very sporadic. We've seen Karabo in this series, which is awesome, in the T20s, and I think that's the easiest way to bladder in. But from a bowling perspective, there's still a lot of question marks. Ayanda Thubi, a lot of work needs to go in there. Masabata's your girl. You have to play her from now on end, right? We need to find a way to get Ayabonga Kaka back to who she was. And Dumi's not fast enough. As a fast bowler, I don't think she's fast enough. I love it a bit. But yeah, I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm not sure for this team she fits. If we had a team of express pacers like a Shubnam and a Marzan, Dumi works well because she's the complete opposite, right? And it's night and day. But at this point in time, this team needs wicket takers, and we do not have them.
Yeah, I agree. And unfortunately, I agree entirely.
Yeah, but look, it's been a good series. I think we've answered a lot of the batting questions. I think we might need to look at another person in the top four, just to make that batting order longer, and then give the all-rounders more responsibility. I'd rather you give the all-rounders more responsibility with the ball and say, whatever you give us with the bat is a bonus, but I need you guys to focus on bowling now, right? Batting is fine with the way we're structuring it, getting batters in. And obviously Marizan I include her as a batter because she's amazing. And then Nadine and Henri, just come with your bowling and bat with responsibility, but you'll bat lower down the order, 6, 7, 8. But what we need from you is a little bit more consistency and accuracy with the ball. You are very tall. You are very quick in the in a Nadine de Klerk perspective because she's skiddy. Henri is very tall and she can bang it into the wicket. You have very profiles we want to build out in that, and if you can get them to be reliable 3 and 4th bowlers, there's no need for us to take you out the team, and we know that you don't take the much of the pressure off the batters when you come in as first change. That's the only thing I think we need to figure out. But I think we might have another series in the future for this. But so far, it's been really, really great. I just want to go through some of the stats. But yes, Tim.
No, I was just going to say, by the time this comes out, the final T20 will have been played. So we're doing this when 85% of the tour is settled. So it's 1-1 of the T20s, which means we've won the ODIs. It's 1-1 on the T20s. By the time this comes out, you'll know who's won in the T20.
Yeah, and look, it's not all sunshine and roses from a batting perspective. And I'm going to read the stats, right? Brett's 184 runs with a high score of 101 at an average of 61, 100 and 150. Laura 130 runs with a high score of 75 and an average of 43 with 150. Sune 112 runs with an average of 37 and a high score of 76. Then Marzan is the 4th best batter with 66 runs at an average of 66, largely because she had 34 not out in one of the games. And Nundu as well scored 66 runs at an average of 22 with a high score of 55, right? So the averages tell a different story, but what we saw with our eyes kind of give a bit of the intent. Because if you look at Sinala's one, right, she only got how many balls? She faced 51 balls and she scored 33 runs in the series, all right? Her average would say 11. But I look at that going, that's improvement. The strike rate's improved well. It's now at 64, and you kind of want to build on that, right? And so those are the things. Like if you look at Nondu faced 74 balls for her 66, and she went at a strike rate of 89, right? So it's a little bit of trying to see that they showed us glimpses, but obviously in the whole it works. And then from a bowling perspective, we spoke about that. 7 wickets for Nongu, 4 wickets for Masabata, who only played 1 game in the ODIs and took 4 wickets. And then 4 wickets for Aya, Hlubi, and then Marzan took 3 wickets, and Nondu took 2 wickets with Annery Dirksen. Nadine only 1 wicket. And yeah, it's also a question as to why Aya Bongakaka is not playing ODIs is an interesting one. But currently in the T20s, to close it off, Tasman's leading with 112 runs with a high score of 98 and a strike rate of 133. Then the next best is Nadine with 41 of 21, a strike rate of 41 of 41 balls at a strike rate of 100. Her high score was 21. And then Laura is way down, only scoring 25 runs with a strike rate of 104. Miane Smith, 22 runs at a strike rate of 95. That's not bad for a youngster. And Karabo, 19 runs at a strike rate of 82. So Not much to talk about in the T20s, hoping for a better performance, a little bit more dominant. We want intent from the ladies. And if you're watching this later, hopefully you can comment and let us know if you saw the intent. In the T20s, Mlaba leads with 3 wickets. Aya's taken 2 wickets. Marazan's taken 2 wickets. Masabata 1 and 1 with Nadine de Klerk. So not as dominant a performance in the T20s, but in the ODIs, there's a lot of positives that are coming out there. And going to the World Cup, Tim, yeah, look, we're going to go there with where we know where the bodies are buried and where our weaknesses are, but at least it's going to be quite a competitive showing, and I think maybe a semi-final showing.
Yeah, look, I think that should be the goal. I think if we could come away from a semi-final, having lost the players that we have, and somebody like Marazan, who's not quite as effective as she has been in recent times, I think a semi-final performance would be seen as a good platform going forward, particularly with Mandla. I think that would be a good platform for him to springboard from.
Yeah. Okay. One last thing. We're talking about the celebrations of the Proteas before we go. We've got a press release this today from CSA thanking all South Africans for their overwhelming support for the Proteas World Test Championship win at Lord's 2 weeks ago. And obviously last week, the fans in Gauteng got an opportunity to hang around with the team and celebrate with the Test Mace. But obviously, because the team is going to Bulawayo starting at the end of the weekend, we need to talk about that slightly. CSA will host a captain's homecoming. Temba's not going. I saw that from the moment he pulled that hamstring, 6 runs in. Temba's not going to Zoom, so Temba is having a bit of a homecoming in Cape Town and Langa this month, as well as Newlands, Cape Town, and the Grand Parade in Cape Town. So the Test Mace will be there in the month of July. And then in September, we'll be taking the Test Mace across 2 communities in the Eastern Cape, the Free State, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Northern Cape. Mpumalanga, Limpopo. No one cares about them. Okay. I don't know. But anyway, if you're in those provinces, you can get to those provinces, then yeah, it's for you. And Captain Bavuma says the support we received from South Africans across the country has been nothing short of phenomenal. The scenes at the airport, at Nelson Mandela Square, and throughout the celebrations remind us how deeply this team resonates with South Africans. On behalf of the entire Proteas, thank you for standing with us on this unforgettable journey. So the Test Mace is coming to you, Tim, and whoever else is in the other provinces in September. But yeah, I would have loved for us to play like a cheeky Bangladesh or something like that, just to, make us feel good. But yeah, it's what it is. You want to realize about the World Test Championship, this next one coming up. We play 3 away games at Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka. We can beat Sri Lanka 2-0. That I'm not worried.
Yeah.
Pakistan, we need to come out of the draw. India is the only series we can lose. Just like how we lost New Zealand, that's the only series we can lose. And then what we need to make sure is by the time Australia come to us next year, one of Cummins, Stark, and Hazelwood is retired. I don't know who, but one of them needs to retire.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, they can give us Scotty Boland. Like, I want Scotty Boland.
They must have their swan song, must be the Ashes. They beat England 5-0 in the Ashes, and they say, thank you very much. Now we're going on.
But I suspect they're going to want to embarrass us at home because we embarrassed them in front of the world. But I don't think they're going to embarrass us. And I'm also not worried about England. I don't know why, but I'm not worried.
I'm only worried because they somehow managed to get themselves up when they come here. But for some other reason,
with what bowlers, Tim? With what bowlers?
But it happens. It happens. Our record against England, in South Africa, isn't great.
This England side, we wiped the floor with. We beat this England side. Aiden scores hundreds against this England side. They've got nothing. I don't understand why they didn't want to try fast track Jofra or Mark Wood, but like without Mark Wood or Jofra, this bowling lineup
It's
doesn't
weak.
scare me.
It's weak. No, I agree. I agree. But I'm just saying that somehow they get themselves motivated. But
Where's Ollie
their
Robinson?
bowling is weak.
What happened to him?
Yeah, he's persona non grata. Let's just put it that way.
What did the racism catch up with him? Because I thought they were protecting him.
Well, that's part of it. Yes, part of it is that. Part of it is attitude. Part of it is lack of fitness. It's not one thing. It is a
Wait, they're
whole.
fat shaming him.
They're all. No comment.
You know, so here's the thing. Carl Abbott, where are you? Come out. They need you. They need you now. Carl Abbott. Call Carl Abbott. There's no Stone. There's no. I'm like, huh? There's no Robinson. You know what? It's fine. It's okay. But all I'm saying is the commentators there think South Africa's not going to make it to the World Test Championship. By the time 2027 rolls around, they're going to have something. They're going to have a big surprise coming to them because they're going to say South Africa played an aging England side. And they're going to say South Africa played an aging Australian side. Then they're going to say South Africa just plays well at home. And then they're going to say, no, South Africa played an inexperienced Indian side when we walk away with a draw out of India. And then when we go to Pakistan, they're going to be like, oh, no, but the world's at war. Nobody's watching that game. They you know. And then when we go to Sri Lanka and we beat them 2-0, they're going to be like, well, it's Sri Lanka. But I'm telling you now, there's a pathway for us to get there. And I'm not scared of Australia. I'm not scared of England. The only team I'm scared of is India. And there's no Virat Kohli. There's no Rohit Sharma. The only person I'm afraid of is Jasprit Bumrah. Like,
yeah, I agree. I agree entirely. Look, you're right. You're right.
in all of those series, let me tell you this: in all of those series, from a bowling perspective, outside of the India series, but even in the India series, Kagiso and Marco, they need to make the pitches good for Jasprit, right? Kagiso and Marco are not far away from Bumrah. But Australia, England, and I don't know who we play at home again, but it might be New Zealand or somebody. I'm not worried. Our bowling attack stacks up. It's just those other brothers on the other side, but they've proven them that they're world champions. And Carl keeps on telling people that he scored the runs to win the World Test Championship. So have at it, Carl. Show us.
It's gonna be of the three, it's gonna be the hardest for us. Genuinely, it's gonna be the hardest. We were in it in the first one. We were in it. I don't know how, but we were in it for the second one. This one, you're right. Everybody's going to say exactly what they said last time. No chance. They're not going to make it because they have to play all these teams that didn't have to play the last one, and now they have to play them, and they're going to lose. Well, let's see.
Yeah. Okay. If you want to add to that comment, please do let us know via the comment section. If you're watching on YouTube, please do like and subscribe. Send a comment. Tell us you're watching, where you're watching from, how you like us, what you want us to change. Do all of that. And then subscribe or follow us on X at Full Quota Pod. We'll probably tell you what's going on with the women's final T20. And also we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please search at Full Quota Podcast. And then finally, please, guys, we love cricket, but we need to pay the bills. So any and all support is appreciated. You can make it fun. You can make it, great, and we'll try to figure out a way to recognize. Yeah, we will recognize you in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, thank you very much for that. And yeah, Tim, we've got more podcasts to come because we've got Zimbabwe up in the near future at the Queen's Cricket Oval. So we'll be back this week, which is why you must like and subscribe, because you won't know when we're coming on. Mondays, yes. The other days of the week, you're not sure. So like and subscribe. Outside of that, Tim, thank you very much, my friend. One more? Yeah?
One more. We might have a surprise for you this week. I'm waiting for a reply. I'm not going to say any more. We might have a surprise. So like and subscribe to get notifications if we get the good news.
Yeah. Who knows? We're world champions. We can do whatever we want now. Like, who are we? Anyway, but we still need your support. We love you. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the week of cricket. And yeah, we'll see you this week, or maybe not, or maybe next week. Well, we'll see you next week, Monday, because we're going to talk about the first 2 days of the test match in Bulawayo. But outside of that, it's goodbye and lesale kakagiso.